brothers and sisters. We're still in the topic of Nifaq. And yes, last khutbah we talked about different kinds of Nifaq. Nifaq Akbar and Nifaq Azhar. Nifaq Azhar is Nifaq al-Amali, is in our actions. And Nifaq Akbar, which is equivalent to kufr, is in the belief. That is when the belief changes and a person still on the outside picture looks like a Muslim or claims to be a Muslim. And that the Nifaq Azhar can lead to Nifaq Akbar. The more a person neglects and ignores the qualities of Nifaq in himself, the more they accumulate, and then they become a feature of that person, that he is showing different from what he believes. And initially it just becomes that he is doing things that are different than what he is doing when he's not in front of people, or he's saying things that he's not doing. But then it turns, as you neglect it more and more, to a feature of that person that he normally talks what he does not believe. And he normally does things to cover up for what he believes on the inside. And this is the Nifaq Akbar. So the Munafiqeen, Nifaq Akbar, they used to say Shahada, they used to pray with the Prophet ﷺ, they used to show that they are fasting in Ramadan, they used to go out as the Muslims in jihad, unless it's a very risky situation, they used to go out for jihad. But when they feel it's really risky, they fear for their lives, like what happened in the Battle of Uhud, when 1/3 of the army came back with the Munafiqeen, and also what happened in the Battle of Tabuk when they refused to go out in the first place. The Nifaq has the person who has a feature of Nifaq should worry about the following. And when we say he should worry about the following, this is a motivation for the person to get rid of the Nifaq in his life. First of all, I talked about last time that a person who goes to Nifaq after he was a true believer, it is very difficult for him to come back. I mentioned the ayat that talk about this. Someone بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون, and also ذلك أنهم آمنوا ثم كفروا فطبع على قلوبهم, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a seal on the heart. And also Allah says in Surah An-Nisa, الذين آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم ازدادوا كفرا لم يكن الله ليغفر لهم ولا ليهديهم سبيلا. Those people who fluctuate between Iman and Kufr, then Iman and Kufr, and then they continue in Kufr but they show the Iman, those people لم يكن الله ليغفر لهم ولا ليهديهم سبيلا. It is difficult for them to come back to the true Iman and true guidance and true light. Also, when a person is full of Nifaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him in this dunya, and he thinks that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving him is because he's on the right path, and he's actually on the wrong path. And this is what is called istidraj. Istidraj is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lets the person do whatever he wants, and gives him more and more of this dunya, and gives him power, gives him wealth, gives him health, gives him security. It's a false sense of security, and this is the worst state. This is the worst state a human being can reach, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving him more and more and more, and he is going far away from Allah more and more and more, because then when he is taken by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no way back. But it is good for the person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always sends him reminders and things to wake him up, and things to draw his attention that he has to change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُمْ. Just like they try to deceive the believers and deceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah deceives them by giving them more where they think that this is good for them. أَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّ مَا نُمِدُّهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ مَالٍ وَبَنِينَ نُسَارِعُ لَهُمْ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ بَلْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they shouldn't think that what I'm giving them is good for them. But they get deceived by this, and they feel that this is a sign that they are doing the right thing, and they keep on going the same way. They keep on going the same way. And this, you see this, some of these very evil people, and some of them who we know are munafiqeen by their actions. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves them from a bad accident or from a plot to assassinate them, and they come out on television saying, oh, that's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves me, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that I'm doing the right thing. This is istidraj. So he should actually use this to wake up. And then Allah says, وَمَا يَسْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ. If they're deceiving anyone, they're actually deceiving themselves. Also, the problem with nifaq is that it leads to forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so when someone forgets Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take care of them. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَنَسِيَهُمْ إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Just like they forgot Allah, نَسِيَهُمْ here doesn't mean Allah forgot about them. Allah doesn't forget at all. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَنَسِيَهُمْ. They forgot Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala وَعَامَلَهُمْ مُعَامَلَةَ النَّاسِ لَهُمْ. This is the meaning of نَسِيَهُمْ. He didn't forget about them, but He treats them as if they don't exist. So He doesn't take care of them, does not guide them to what is good for them in this life and the hereafter, so they keep on going in the wrong way. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَنَسِيَهُمْ. Also, the biggest problem of nifaq, of course, is al-khulud fi an-nar. That it leads to being in hellfire forever. Khulud fi an-nar. And it leads for that person to be equal to the kuffar in hellfire or even lower. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَمِيعُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْكَافِرِينَ فِي جَهَنَّمَ جَمِيعًا. Allah will collect them all together, munafiqeen and kafirin. No difference. في جهنم جميعا. Also Allah says, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْكُفَّارَ نَارَ جَهَنَّمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises them the munafiqeen, munafiqat, male and females, and kuffar, they're equal. نار جهنم, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises them نار جهنم, hellfire. Also Allah said, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Munafiqeen are at the worst level and the lowest level of hellfire. Another problem with nifaq, and this is the major nifaq. What we're talking about right now is the major nifaq that takes somebody out of Islam. That he is pretending to be a Muslim, but on the inside, he does not really have any of the beliefs of Islam. So, another problem with that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept the amal. Because a condition for accepting, one of the prerequisites for accepting one's deeds is that he has to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a proper way. If he does not believe in Allah and His Messenger, so Allah said that in the proper way, then the actions are all gone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا مَنْعَهُمْ أَن تُقْبَلَ مِنْهُمْ نَفَقَاتُهُمْ إِلَّا أَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَلَا يَأْتُونَ الصَّلَاةَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كُسَالَى وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كَارِهُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He will not accept their deeds. That is because on the inside, they actually don't believe in what they're doing. إِلَّا أَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. They don't believe in all these things. They come to pray, but they don't believe in the prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that He commanded us to pray. They may fast, they may go and do this, they may give charity, but they don't believe in all this. They do it so that people know that they are good. يُرَعُونَ النَّاسَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about them. Even when they pray, they show off in front of people. When they give sadaqah, it is also to show off in front of people, and they actually giving it, and they don't want to give it. Also, if a person dies on nifaq akbar, the major nifaq, meaning that his belief on the inside is in the belief of the kuffar, that he's pretending to be a Muslim, the dua of the Muslims will not reach him, and it will not benefit him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam make salah on them, or make dua for them. Because again, إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Because for you to benefit from these things, the least that you should have is the iman. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away their light guidance in this dunya. They are not guided in this dunya. And just like they are not guided in this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away their light in the hereafter as they are trying to cross the sirat over the bridge over the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the munafiqeen, in this life, مَثَلُهُمْ كَمَثَلِ الَّذِي اسْتَوْقَدَ نَارًا فَلَمَّا أَضَاءَتْ مَا حَوْلَهُ ذهب الله بنورهم. The example of the munafiq is someone who got into Islam and Iman as if someone who is lighting a fire in the desert to see what's going on around him and to benefit from the fire. فَلَمَّا أَضَاءَتْ مَا حَوْلَهُ, once he saw the light, ذهب الله بنورهم, then this light was taken away from him, of course by his actions. وَتَرَكَهُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتِهِمْ, and then he lived in darkness in this life. What happens in hereafter? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what happens in hereafter. يَوْمَ يَقُولُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتُ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا انظُرُونَا نَقْتَبِسْ مِنْ نُورِكُمْ قيل ارجعوا وراءكم فالتمسوا نورا فضرب بينهم بسور له باب باطنه فيه الرحمة وظاهره من قبله العذاب ينادونهم ألم نكن معكم قالوا بلى ولكنكم فتنتم أنفسكم وتربصتم وارتبتم وغرتكم الأماني حتى جاء وعد الله وغركم بالله الغرور فاليوم لا يؤخذ منكم فدية ولا من الذين كفروا مأواكم جهنم وبئس المصير. These ayat talk about the munafiqeen in the hereafter, that they walk in with the believers. They think that they are going to the same destination of the believers because they were with them in this life. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the light away from the munafiqeen and leaves the light for the believers to show them where they are going, and when they are crossing the sirat. And sirat is so thin, أحد من السيف, that it is thinner than the edge of the sword. But for the believer it's not a problem. He crosses not with his feet, he crosses with his iman and his light that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him. So the light goes away. Light is switched off in the hereafter for them. And then they start asking the believers, wait for us so that we can walk in your light. We want to walk in your light. انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to them, قِيلَ ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. Why don't you go back to this dunya, this life? This life. ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ, go back to the dunya and get the light. Because the only place you can get the light for the hereafter is the light from this dunya. The light of the iman. You cannot buy any light in the hereafter, and you cannot borrow it from somebody standing next to you. ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. And then they are totally separated. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةُ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابُ. Once they are totally separated by a big wall, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that one side of the wall there's all the rahmah, the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala towards the believers, and ظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابُ. On the other side, the punishment starts for the munafiqeen. Now they've lost the light, and now they're starting to get punished. And then they start yelling and calling on the believers. يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. They ask them, weren't we with you? Meaning that weren't we praying with you, fasting with you, coming for Salat al-Eid, Salat al-Jum'ah, going for this and this? And because they had Muslim names and everything, but the belief was so weak that it led them to Nifaq. That eventually their feelings are just like the feelings of the kuffar. Some of them even don't feel when the kuffar are killing the Muslims, they don't feel that something wrong has happened. They say, no, I've heard this from some Muslims, that they feel that when the kuffar are doing good. So this feeling of you feeling that the kuffar are better than the believers, or that they are doing good by getting rid of good Muslims. This is a very dangerous way of thinking. So, يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُنْ مَعَكُمْ, but the believers respond to them. قَالُوا بَلَى وَلَكِنَّكُمْ فَتَنْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ, that you have led yourself to this fitna. Also, the munafiq, although he is given more and more in this dunya, money and wealth and children and health, he is suffering with these things. On the outside picture, he looks like he has a lot, but inside he is suffering with his children. He is suffering with his money. His money is cause for suffering for him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ بِهَا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. Do not be amazed and do not be deceived by all the money and wealth and children that they have. This is a means for their torment and punishment in this dunya, by the anxiety and the trouble that it gives them in this dunya. So not everyone who has money is happy, and not everyone who has health is happy, not everyone who has children is happy. It could be the cause for his misery, correct? We see this all the time, and we feel it sometimes. Now, and then one more thing about the Nifaq is that the Munafiq, when he reaches that state, he thinks that he's doing good and that he is the right Muslim and that he has the right Islam. Some of these Munafiqeen like Al-Almaniyin who talk about, and they themselves have this kind of modern Islam that everything is good and everything is allowed and everything is halal, and that when you say haram to them that you are an extremist, and when you tell them that you have to do this and this, you tell you, no, you're an extremist. These kind of people actually think and believe that they are on the right thing. They believe that they have the right version of Islam. They say, oh, you have the extreme version of Islam and we have the moderate version of Islam. This moderate version of Islam they talk about is all Nifaq. It allows them to do whatever they want, and at the same time they claim to be Muslims in front of the people. Just because they celebrate the Muslim holidays, for instance, and they come out on the Eid and celebrate and gather the Muslims and give some sadaqat, gather the poor. Can you see this? These Muslim leaders, you see them a lot doing this. This is the big example of Nifaq. When they gather the Muslims in the big occasions, and sometimes they make these big conferences for Muslim scholars, but they pick the scholars that they want. Not any scholar can come to these conferences. They pick the ones that they want to propagate their version of Islam, which is the version of Nifaq. In fact, it is all Nifaq, but on the outside it looks like Islam. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمنوا كما آمن الناس, follow the true Iman, قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء. Should we believe like these ignorant people, meaning the extremists and the terrorists that they claim they are? Also, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. When you tell them, do not do this mischief and corruption, and they say, no, we are doing good, we are true Muslims and we are serving Islam in the best way. So all this a feature of Munafiqeen